What's going on, my broskies? My name is Toadski and I'm back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And in today's video, I am bringing you guys something a little bit out of the normal. Like, this is definitely not a video that I would usually make, but recently, if you guys are not subscribed to Boris Anime, he did upload a video just basically going over this tier list of just ranking different characters in One Piece Treasure Cruise and kind of give his thoughts and opinions on the list. Now, if you guys have already seen the video, that is awesome. So I'm going to be, drawing some things that he actually said in his video, and I'm gonna just basically give you my thoughts and opinions on this tier list. This is a very big tier list. There's lots to go through, lots of different characters to actually break down. Now, if you guys haven't seen Boris's original video, that will be linked in the description down below. Also, the actual tier list that you are seeing on screen right now will be also linked down below in the description, as well as the details and all the social links to Maniakk, who is the author behind this entire tier list. So if you guys want to go and show him some support for putting all this work in for this tier list, make sure to go ahead and check him out. But there are so many things to go through in this video, but let's just go through it, okay? So it says tier list of captains, free-to-play, and legends. Now, in this video, we're only going to be mainly talking about the legend characters. There are a ton of other characters on this list that aren't legends, like free-to-play characters, as well as, including raid bosses and super evolutions and stuff like that. But we're mainly going through the legends and their super evolutions. So this last update here was on the 27th of the 5th, I believe, and it says Enel 6-star and Ray 6-star plus updating when placing them on the tier list. Expected placements, Ray is S plus and Enel is SS. So there are different rankings for the tier list. There's like SSS, S, there's A and stuff like that. But we're gonna go through that all in this video. So this might be a long video, and if you guys, are here to stay till the end, then that is absolutely awesome. But let's get straight into it. Let's start off at the very bottom, which is, I believe this is A rank? A rank? Yeah, this is the A rank tier list. So let's start off from the bottom. Now, I believe, I believe that in each of these tiers, the characters aren't placed in order from top to bottom by how good they are. They're just randomly put into this tier list. Now, he does state that something called a gatekeeper, if something is called a gatekeeper, it means that it is the best of that specific tier. So we're going to go through all of this. Okay, so obviously it's got Zephyr here, but let's talk about Whitebeard. Now, Maniakk has put Whitebeard in here. Now, the second column is the positives of the character, and the column after that is the negatives of the character. So Whitebeard, obviously the first legend that was introduced into Treasure Cruise, still to this day a very solid character. He has a really nice 30% health cut, and he is also a 3x attack rainbow leader to everybody. But the only restriction is you have to be below 30% health. Now, there will be the super evolution of Whitebeard, which will be, obviously a lot better than this Whitebeard, which is a lot higher up on this tier list. But currently, regular 6-star Whitebeard is ranked in the A rank tier by Maniakk. Now, the cons of this guy, obviously, when you're being under 30%, very dangerous, and he states that not great damage. You do actually get some pretty good damage output from Whitebeard Captain. It's just, the main thing about Whitebeard is you have to be below 30%. And the thing is, a lot of the time you are going to be running auto heal on your characters, auto heal sockets, which means that a lot of the times you might actually break through and go above your health threshold. And, included in that is also recovery orbs as well. You might accidentally pick up a recovery orb, which will put you above that 30% threshold, meaning that you don't get that damage output for the following turns. So, Whitebeard, very risky captain, but if used correctly, can clear a lot of content. A very good captain. Moving on though, we have 6-star Shanks. We have regular strong-willed Shanks. Now, this is one of the characters that I've been hoping for a long time gets a 6-star plus evolution. That would be insane. If you guys haven't seen my 6-star plus concept for Shanks, make sure you go check that out. It is on the channel. But let's break this guy down. Obviously, he is a 2.75 leader to yellow characters, but you need to be at full HP to get the best out of that. And that is the main drawback of Shanks, is the fact that you have to be at full HP in order to get the maximum damage output possible, which is kind of difficult. It's getting more and more difficult as time progresses, as, dungeons become a lot more difficult. They're doing a lot more damage. Mobs have a lot more health, so they are harder to take down. And just all in all, it's really hard to use Shanks for some of the more difficult content. So I think he definitely deserves a 6-star plus at some point. But, he's here at the moment. He does really good side damage. Against any purple boss, he pretty much just decimates them. Any special, I believe, does need a rework of some sort. Sure, it's good to get 2 turns of 0 defense on the opponent, but the thing is that it's such a high cooldown. 20 turns is unacceptable. That is just so unacceptable. either lower the cooldown or just completely rework it all together. I think what they should do is just completely scrap the special and then start again from scratch, make a new special for 6-star plus. That would be awesome. But who knows, you know, who knows what they could do. But yeah, it is restricted to yellow characters, which is another sort of drawback. But the thing is, even though you are restricted to yellow characters, that team does a lot of damage because, you know, yellow doesn't have any weaknesses. They've only got either neutral or super effective damage. So I think that this is fine. I don't think that's really a negative. That's fine. Like, solo yellow is insane. They have so much support. Just that Shanks himself just needs a bit of a buff, and then this guy will be an amazing captain. But definitely, I agree, him to be in the A rank tier of Legends. But now let's talk about Sengoku. So Sengoku used to be one of literally the best captains in the game before they started releasing all of the very, very powerful legends. But yes, he is very fast. 3 times rainbow boost, that's correct. Yeah, he can boost everyone, but there is the restriction that he only boosts himself and units below 20 cost, or 20 or lower cost. That is the big restriction on him. And he doesn't need rare recruit, that is true as well. Secret rare recruits, you know, are 20 cost, which is fine. You can use those guys, but the majority of rare recruits are above 20 cost, which means you can't use them on a Sengoku team, or you can use them, but they won't get a boost. So, you know, that's fine. You can just use the Fortnite characters. You can use some specific characters from the Colosseum, but a lot of the characters from the Colosseum, or a lot of the good characters from Colosseum, are basically, you know, above 20 cost. You can't use raid bosses, you can't use legends, which is one of the big downsides, because obviously Colosseum raids and legends are the best characters in the game. So not being able to use those characters on a Sengoku team does kind of bring Sengoku down a little bit. He doesn't actually give you that much damage output. There are some characters, obviously, that are below 20 or lower cost that do have some pretty good stats, but for the most part, they're pretty weak, so you're not going to be getting that much damage output from Sengoku. But one big thing about Sengoku that I really like is his special. You know, 1.5 attack to everybody with no condition to fulfill for that is insane. He is so good. He is a 19-turn cooldown, so you're pretty much only going to be getting like a lot of use out of this if you are using him as the captain, because he does have that lower cooldown for his captain ability, which is nice. But yeah, that's one big thing about Sengoku, is he's not tanky, he doesn't give you a lot of damage, and you can't use the best characters in the game on his team. So you're limited to really weak characters, but that special does help out a lot. You know, 1.5 unconditional boost to everyone is really, really nice. I do agree that he is the A rank tier. He could potentially get a 6-star plus in the future as well, to just give him a little bit of a buff. Next one here, we have Sabo. Now, Sabo did get a 6-star plus, and he is insane. I do not think that you know, just talking about this regular 6-star is, you know, needed, to be honest, because in most cases, you're not going to be using this guy. If you have Sabo 6-star, there's no reason not to keep a regular 6-star form. Just completely upgrading to 6-star plus, because the 6-star plus version is just better in every way, shape, and form compared to regular 6-star version Sabo. So, yeah, I'm not really going to talk about him. He's just here. Yes, if he is unevolved, he probably is in this tier. He can still provide a lot of damage output. You can still use a friend timeskip Luffy in order to deal a ton of damage to the opponent. But in most cases, as I said, you're not going to be using the regular 6-star form. You're just going to super evolve him. Rayleigh is an interesting one. Rayleigh here is kind of interesting because he only just got his 6-star plus on Japan, and, you know, that's another thing as well. He's pretty much like Sabo, where the 6-star plus is better in every way, shape, and form compared to regular Rayleigh, so I'm not going to be talking about Rayleigh that much, but yes, I do agree that 6-star Rayleigh is in this tier. The main thing that brings him down is the fact that, you know, barriers are a big thing now, and his special ability is god-awful. It is horrendous. It is really, really bad, especially because just sockets just completely make his special redundant. You get a little bit of damage, but literally that's it, and it's on a 17-turn cooldown. In most cases, you're not going to be using his special for its actual utility. It's mainly just there as a damage outputting special, so it's not that good. But you can still use this guy as a captain. He still does decent damage. He is a fighter/cerebral unit, so you can build teams around that. But, you know, he's a rainbow captain. You can literally use anyone. But yeah, combo limiters and barriers are the thing that really let Rayleigh down in future content. So, but his 6-star plus is kind of better. Still has the same sort of problems with combo limiters and barriers, but he is a lot better unit-wise. He's got a better special. His captain ability is a little bit more buffed as well. But yeah, Rayleigh, I do agree, should be in this tier as well. There's Raid Boss Mayhawk, Raid Enel. Buggy, I'm not going to be talking about this. You know, Buggy, I guess, is kind of here. He doesn't have damage output, let's be real. His damage output is terrible, but he does have the double drop ability, which is freaking insane. It is so nice to have, but it's just buggy, man. It's just buggy. He doesn't have that much use aside from double dropping stuff. So, you know, buggy's just kind of there. Then you've got Legend Boa, regular 6-star Boa. I do agree that Boa should be in this tier. She is, I would say it's kind of moving up a little bit. I don't know. That special ability is so good, though. Like, even, you're not even using her as a captain, but her special ability is very good. You know, providing a delay and recovering some decent recovery as well. There are other characters that do provide a much better ability than what she does, but she is a very solid captain and a very solid special ability as well. But she does only boost 2 colors, and you know, you have to be above 70% in order to get that tankiness. So it is what it is. You know, everyone jokes around Boa being one of the worst legends in the game. I was kind of sad that her 6-star plus, her captain ability with her 6-star plus isn't that buffed, in my opinion. I think it definitely needed to be better than what it was. But it is what it is. Boa's kind of here. I do agree that Boa should be here. Her special ability is really good, though. Really good special. Captain ability is a little bit lacking. So, then you got Radar Kiji. But now let's move on. That was all the A tier. So, that was the lowest tier that Maniakk has put on this tier list. So, this is the lowest rank for Legends. Now, let's move on to the next rank, which is S rank, or S plus, or S rank, I believe. I believe it's S rank. Let me just check real quick. I believe it's S rank. Oh, it's A plus rank. Okay, so A plus rank is interesting because he's put Whitebeard 6-star plus in A plus. Now, personally, I think he should be above that. I think he should definitely be an S rank, 100%, or even higher. His captain ability is buffed significantly, meaning that you don't have to be below 30% to get a damage output. You know, you can be above 30% and still getting decent damage output, just enough to kill some mob characters, which is really nice. And not only that, he has really good orb manipulation as well with his special ability, because his special ability prior to his evolution was just a regular 30% health cut, and then after evolving, it does that health cut. On top of that, it will lower the cooldowns of all your subunits and will also go ahead and randomly shuffle non-matching orbs. That is a very good special. It doesn't even get high cooldown. It stays at 17 turns. Very good. He's a rainbow captain. You can use anyone on it. And as a subunit on Akainu teams or just striker-based teams, he is phenomenal. In my opinion, he should definitely be a lot higher than what he's listed on this rank right here. But nonetheless, he is here. This is what Maniakk has put. If I could talk to him directly, I would say definitely go ahead and buff him up. It says not the best team option. I don't know about that. And low damage all round. I disagree. I do think the Whitebeard will output a ton of damage when you're below 30%, especially with some, you know, really good subs. And he does have team compositions here that you guys can have a look at as well. But anyways, I think that's the only legend here. Oh, we got 6-star plus Boa here as well. Boa's an interesting one. You know, Boa, in my opinion, she's a lot better than a regular 6-star, but still has some sort of problems. You know, her recovery. I was trying to just completely butcher that, but her captain ability is the main thing that they just, you know, failed to notice when upgrading her. It still has the same sort of issue. You have to be pretty high health in order to get a lot of damage output, which is one bad thing about her as a captain. And it's just the fact that, you know, the other legends, like, you know, you got Marco. He's still a better captain than Boa in my personal opinion, because he gives you, you know, that 30% damage reduction, which is insane when you're above 70%. So it's really nice. Boa does have the ability to give you lots of recovery though, because her special ability boosts recovery and attack of yellow and blue by 1.75, and she delays on top of that. So her special ability is good. She gives you, you know, 3 matching orbs for your left column, and makes the captain orb a recovery orb. And because you have a boost of recovery with her special, that recovery orb is going to be healing for a lot. So her special is actually really good, but her captain ability, again, is what is really lacking with 6-star plus Boa. So that was the A plus tier. Now I believe we are reaching the S rank. This is the S rank. Okay, so let's go ahead and start here. So, Usopp. So this is the 6-star and 6-star plus god Usopp, and Maniakk has put him on the S rank tier. Let's see what he says. It says 1 turn delay every stage, so that's for his 6-star plus version, which is an insane ability. Perfect orb control works great with Ace, that is correct, so you can run the 6-star plus Usopp with a friend Strongwood Ace. And if you guys don't know what 6-star plus Usopp's captain ability does, it will make pretty much every orb matching. It makes all colored orbs, tandem, and recovery orbs. They're all matching orbs for shooter characters, I believe, or it's for everyone. I believe it's only for shooters when it's his 6-star plus form. The regular 6-star form has a different captain ability. I don't remember what that was, but his 6-star plus will make every colored orb and every tandem and recovery orb matching, and I believe he gives a slight attack boost as well. And that works great with Ace, because Ace makes it so that if they have a matching orb, they get 3 times attack. So it works great with Strong One Ace friend captain, or your Ace and a friend Usopp. Works really well. Attack boost under 30%, perfect for Whitebeard. Okay, so that was how it worked. Yeah, okay, that was how it worked. So you had to be below 30% to get your attack boost, which is fine, and one of the best specials in the game. I 100% agree with that. His special ability is really, really strong. 6-star plus will delay even if they have a delay protector, and the regular 6-star Usopp will provide a 5-turn delay at level 3 special, which is quite crazy. So that is awesome. Only 1.75 attack, so not enough. You're not getting a lot of damage output, but the utility that you get from this guy is what makes him good. Obviously, his captain ability isn't going to be used that much, but as I said, the utility is the main draw to Usopp. So 6-star has a better special, and 6-star plus has a better captain. So that is the thing as well. But I do agree that he should be an S rank. But the thing is here, right? So we're starting to get into the realm of the legends where you're comparing captain abilities and special abilities. In my personal opinion, it would be kind of better if it was just 2 different tier lists altogether, one for specials and one for captain abilities. I think the way the game list does it, their structure might be a little bit more desirable, but this is not a bad list whatsoever, but it's just the fact that it's hard to tier characters depending on their captain abilities and specials, because a character might have a great special, whereas another character just has a better captain ability. So how do you rank which one's better? You know, it's hard to say, but, you know, Usopp is here. I'm not too sure whether he would be, you know, higher or lower, but I think that this is a fine spot for him. Then we've got Lucci. Lucci, in my opinion, is another character that really, really needs a 6-star plus version. That would be nice. But he has good recovery with the Rocket Man, that's true, because the Rocket Man gives you 900 recovery if you have 6 powerhouse characters. On top of that, if you have level 5 auto heal, that gives you 1900 recovery per turn. That is great. And especially because Lucci makes your recovery go to 0, having that 1900 is pretty much a requirement at this point for a Lucci team. His special gives orb manipulation. I wouldn't say orb manipulation, but I would say, I wouldn't say orb manipulation. I would just say that it gives you a high chance of matching orbs, because if you guys don't know what it does, it means that for the next 3 turns, the chances to get matching orbs is insanely high. I don't know the actual percentage, but the rate to get a matching orb while Lucci special is activated is stupidly high. Like, a lot of the times you're going to be getting matching orbs. It is absolutely insane. He has a 2.5 times attack minimum, which is quite nice. When you have a matching orb for your powerhouse characters, they get 3 times attack, so that's nice. And then better with Blackbeard, Hody, or Akainu captains. That is true as well. In most cases in Japan, from what I've seen, they usually don't run double Lucci anymore. It's usually either Lucci Hody or Lucci Akainu. I haven't seen Lucci Blackbeard before, but I've definitely seen Lucci Hody and Lucci Akainu before. That works really, really well. But his negatives here, no HP boost. Yeah, that's true. So it makes him a little bit squishy. It means that he doesn't have a lot of tankiness, and you are really relying on the Rocket Man and your auto heal to get you through. Now, it says, obviously, another positive or negative is that you're better with Blackbeard, Hody, and Akainu, which means that running Lucci isn't really the best, but if you have Lucci and you want to run him, it's best to run him with Blackbeard, Hody, or Akainu, which makes sense. Moving on to the last character of this tier list here on S rank is Bato. Now, Bato has great tankiness, which is true. He has excellent special and unkillable. Unkillable, quote-unquote unkillable. I mean, his special is insane. Means that you will survive no matter what if you're being attacked by a singular character, which is great. Has a great special. His captain ability is pretty good as well, but you are only getting 2.75 attack, and you only get that if you are running 6 strikers on your crew, meaning that if you are wanting to run someone else that isn't a striker, you are, you know, limiting your damage output, which is one of the main drawbacks of Bato. But if you are running a team of 6 strikers, you do have the ability with Bato that provides damage reduction if you do not attack with him, which is actually really solid. I believe it's a 30% damage reduction if you don't attack with him. If you don't attack with both of them, it's like a 50% or a 49 or 51%. It's around 50%. Which is pretty nice, and you can go ahead and pick up recovery orbs along that. So Bato does have quite good survivability, and even if you are about to die, you do have the ability to activate that special as well. Low team possibility, so there aren't that many good strikers, and he says that here. Striker's the worst class in the game right now, which I do completely agree with. Strikers need a very, very big buff for them to become one of the best classes in the game. You just can't compare with Slashers, Driven, Free Spirit. Those characters have such insane, those classes have such insane characters that it's really hard for the other ones to really compete with them, because their captains that they have are insane, and you know, their subs are just better as well. And he says low burst turn, so because it's only 2.75 times attack, you are limited to the amount of damage that you will be outputting. So if you have guys like, for example, you have Fujitora. Now, Fujitora is there, but Fujitora for driven teams is kind of better because he's a 3 times attack captain, and he has a health cut. If you look at Free Spirit, they've got Timeskip Luffy, who is a 4 times attack captain, and then you've got Slashes, which is Zoro, who has a 3 times attack, whereas you have Bato, who's 2.75. 2.75 isn't bad, but it's just that there are better captains out there. So that is the entire S rank tier for the tier listings. But now let's move on. Now we're getting into the better legends here. We're getting into the better legends being the SS or the S plus or the SS tiers. So what was the tier that we just went over? I just completely forgot. S. Okay, so this should be the S plus tier. Let's start things off with Sabo. So, Sabo, 6-star plus. Now, the regular Sabo that we went through earlier in the video was at the very bottom. Now, you can see that's a massive jump that his 6-star plus got, jumping him all the way up to the S plus tier. Now, the reason why this guy is so good is the fact that you can partner him up with a timeskip Luffy, and you can clear everything in the game. It's that good, man. He's that good. Now, he does have him at S plus tier. In my personal opinion, he should be much higher. He should be significantly higher, because he can clear everything in the game when you have a friend timeskip Luffy. So, in my personal opinion, this should be much higher than what it is. So, if there was anything that I would say, definitely put this guy higher. But he is a great captain. One of the best specials in the game. Although you are limited to free spirits, but he is still one of the best specials in the game. He is a 1.75 booster for 1 turn, and if you hit 3 or 4 perfects, or maybe it's 5 perfects, I don't remember, you have to hit a certain amount of perfects, but then you get 2 times attack in the following turn, so that's kind of hard to compete with. A 1.75 and 2 times attack boost in one special is insane. But however, he states, gets outclassed by Log Luffy, Law, and Timeskip Luffy. Now, I would agree up until Law and Timeskip Luffy. I don't agree with Log Luffy. I do believe that running Sabo 6-star plus and a friend Timeskip Luffy is better than Log Luffy altogether, completely, in my personal opinion. I'm not too sure what he thinks about that. But also, I forgot to mention this as well, about what makes this guy so much better is the fact that you can run this guy as a captain and have a friend Timeskip Luffy, and you don't need a type booster, another sub as a type booster, because Sabo is your type booster. So that does free up a slot in your team, and also the fact that Sabo will boost your HP and recovery on top of that is insane. Like, Sabo 6-star plus is legitimately one of the best characters in the game. He is one of the best super evolutions and one of the best characters in the game, in my opinion. Okay, so moving on, I'm gonna have to take a drink here. We have Mayhawk. Now, Mayhawk, 2.75 attack booster, one of the best specials in the game, not arguing there, no problems with barriers yet. So, Mayhawk is one of the best characters in the game because his special is so unique. Like, there's no other character in the game that provides what Mayhawk does. If you guys don't know what he does, however much damage you did in the previous turn, he does 50% of that as damage to the opponent. It's insane, because, as I said, there's no one in the game that does that to any way, shape, or form. He is the only character in the game that does anything similar to that. But one bad thing about him is that his captain ability is kind of lacking when you compare him to current 6-star characters. You've got Law, you've got Zoro. Those guys just 100% outclass him as slasher captain. So if there was anything that this guy would have as a 6-star plus, would be a buff to his captain ability. And the fact is, you get 2.75 attack, but you have to hit perfects. If you are hitting goods or greats, you are getting much lower attack, because that actual multiplier does get decreased. You have to get perfects in order to get that 2.75 times attack multiplier, which is kind of a bad thing, but one good thing about it is you can partner this guy up with a friend Zora or a friend Law, and you'll get much more damage output. So if there was anything I would suggest, that's what I would be doing there. But you know, that's the thing that makes this guy so good, is his special ability, because it is unique and it can help you clear so much more content just by having this guy on your crew. But yeah, amazing character. Moving on, we have Jinbei 6-star. Now, Jinbei is an interesting one because he kind of got outclassed with Gear 4. Gear 4 is just 100% the better fighter type captain. Now, let's just go through what he said. He says, as a positive, he has great orb control. I agree with that. His special just gives full border matching orbs just to all fighters. It is so nice, but it does make perfects harder to hit. So if they are going to give this guy 6-star plus, definitely would go ahead and remove the, you know, making perfects harder to hit. I don't think he needs that. He's extremely tanky, which is true. He gives you a 1.5 times health boost. So, you know, Jinbei can clear a lot of content, if not all the content in the game, because he's just that tanky. And the fact that you can run 6-star Marco on a Jinbei team, and he gets boosted as well. So that's what makes you know, Jinbei teams so good, is that they are tanky, they have a solid healer, and that healer actually gets boosted on the team as well. You know, you had guys like a strong one Ace who would, you know, use Marco, but Marco doesn't get boosted, so it makes that team a little bit less reliable. But you have Jinbei here, who is a 2.75 times attack booster, but he is very tanky. So he says that they're very slow teams. Fighters haven't upgraded in a long time, so with Gear 4, that is definitely the biggest upgrade the fighters have had in a long time. They have Colosseum Ideo, who does provide the 2 times orb boost, but in my personal opinion, fighters do need a little bit more of a buff. Sure, they got Gear 4, but their subs are still lacking. They definitely need a little bit more of a buff. They still have access to Raid Boss Sabo, Int Ivankov, who are really solid as well, Senior Pink. They've got access to a lot of good characters. But in my personal opinion, they do need a little bit of a buff, but they are still a very solid team. Jinbei, still being one of the best captains in the game, can clear a lot of content. Now, Ace, I believe this is the last one. Yeah, so this is the top character, or not the top character, but this is the last character of the S+ tier. So, Strongwood Ace, Old Faithful. As you guys know, I'm a pretty big fan of Strongwood Ace, one of my favorite legends in the game. So let's go ahead and talk about what Maniakk has said. He says acceptable burst. Currently his bursting isn't as good as it once was, for the fact that, you know, there are barriers now, so that really limits the amount of damage Ace can do. Barriers definitely, you know, kind of hurt Ace a lot, and definitely just due to the fact that there are just better teams that just do much more damage than what Ace can output. I think that the meta is kind of shifting in Treasure Cruise, where they're moving away from the 1.5 times HP boost captains. But even though they are tanky, they can definitely take a lot of hits, they can still output a lot of damage. They're just not as strong as some other teams, but still a solid captain altogether. A 1.5 times HP boost. Very versatile. Shooter are the 4th best because of their potential of their units. Now, I'm not too sure what the ranking of his classes are, but shooters are definitely one of the best classes in the game. They have such great utility. Obviously, we went before 6-star Usopp and 6-star plus Usopp. Really great with this guy. Works great with Shooter Legends, all top tier, that is true. So works well with Kizaru Legend, works well with Aokiji Legend. Great captain. Can now have 2 burst turn, but not back to back. Yeah, so Ace can provide a lot of damage output, but can struggle sometimes. There are some specific dungeons that will make Ace, you know, a little bit more harder to use, especially with Invasion Cavendish, who has recently come out on Japan, where he has the debuff where you cannot access any orbs whatsoever. So you can't get recovery orbs, you can't use any matching orbs. So it means that captains that rely on getting matching orbs do get debuffed a little bit. So hopefully, you know, they don't do too much of that in the future. Otherwise, that will go ahead and make a lot of these older legends a lot worse. But who knows, you know, that's only just one thing that's come out that's, you know, really limited Ace. So maybe that's just going to be, you know, a really one-off thing. But if they do introduce more dungeons with the Invasion Cavendish debuff, then Ace is going to be very hard to use in the future. Yeah, as I said here, 2 times without orbs, so weak to Cavendish Invasion debuff. Yeah, as I just said there. Shooters don't have a HP cut, Driven have, and doesn't have the attack multiplier that Free Spirit and Slashers have. That is that is true. That's legitimately the problem with shooters at the moment. No HP cut, which means that they have to do more damage than usual, and because they don't have the damage output of Slashers and Free Spirits, that's just the problem. That's the reason why they struggle. HP cut lack, and also they don't have the attack multiplier. So Ace is still one of the best legends in the game, but definitely not as good as some other legends. So now let's move on. It's definitely going to be a long video. This is already a 30-minute video, holy crap. But let's go ahead and talk about this tier here, which is the S+ Forest Gods. So I don't know about this tier, right, because when we're talking about this, right, we have Marco here. Now, Marco just by himself, not even just related to Forest, just by himself, he's a great captain. He would be definitely SS or S+ tier 100%. He is a great unit, provides legitimately a full heal for most teams, and will provide a 1.5 orb boost for 2 turns. Like, it's such a great special ability, such a great captain ability with really tankiness, really great tankiness, and the recovery is great, and he's actually got a really nice multiplier, 2.75 multiplier for 2 colors as well. So, overall, I do believe that Marco is a great character, but I'm not too sure about the Forest tier. I'm not too sure if this should be a thing or not, or whether you should just, you know, jumble them in with the rest of the tiers. But you got Corazon here as well, who is Recovery God. Yes, he is a Recovery God. Boosts everyone 2 times, but that is only at max health because his attack multiplier is dependent also on how much health you have remaining. It goes from 1 times to 2 times, so he doesn't give you a lot of damage, but you're pretty much gonna never die because you just keep recovering health. Corazon's just amazing, giving you so much recovery and so much survivability. Obligation to hit goods, which can kill during stalling. So that's the thing as well, the fact that you have to hit goods in order to recover. So if you are trying to stall on certain characters, you might end up killing them, which can be quite bad. But you are still recovering at the end of the day, so even if you do kind of mess up, you do have the ability just to recover. So Corazon, one of the best characters in the game in that department in recovery. And then there's Shirahoshi as well, best character in the game all round, Forest God S, excellent special, damage reduction, and a 2.25 attack boost. Yeah, in my opinion, Shirahoshi is kind of like a better Corazon, in my personal opinion. Shirahoshi is amazing, and like all those positives there are completely true, makes so much sense, outclassed by Corazon in recovery. I personally think that Shirahoshi is better. However, if you do hit all goods, Corazon will provide more recovery each turn. But the thing is, you don't have to actually hit goods in order to get the recovery from Shirahoshi. And she does provide a 10% damage reduction if she doesn't attack. So she's similar to Bato in that manner. And she gives everyone a 2.25 attack boost. So you're getting more damage, you don't have to hit goods to recover, and you do have a little bit of damage reduction. So in my personal opinion, Shirahoshi is better. Her special heals more than what Corazon does, and she gives everyone rainbow orbs, which is considered matching orbs. So in my personal opinion, I don't understand this point outclassed by Corazon. I do believe that Shirahoshi is just better than Corazon. But nonetheless, all these characters are amazing for Forest, and will have no issues clearing Forest with the right subunits. So now we're moving on. So that was the S+ tiers, I believe. Should be S+. Yes, okay, so now we're moving on to the SS. So, now we're moving on to legitimately, like, the tippity top, the summit of the mountain of the best characters in the game. So, Log Luffy used to be the best character in the game, used to be the go-to character, the go-to captain for clearing all content in the game. But he's down here at the SS tier now. So 4 times attack Rainbow Captain works perfectly with Sabo 6-star plus. That is true, actually. That actually does work out as well. But in my personal opinion, Sabo is just better with times tier Luffy friend, so that's fine. And controls his own orb as well, which is nice, and can recover while doing a burst turn as well, which is nice. He's outclassed by Luffy time skip and also free spirit booster. As a free spirit booster, which is true. Has a hard time against barriers unless you play with Blackbeard, thus not playing free spirit. Not playing free spirit, his better team. Yes, that is one of the things that definitely let down Log Luffy is the barriers, because if there's a barrier where you have to hit 5 goods, Log Luffy doesn't get any attack multiplier. All the good, great, and perfect barriers definitely let him down. And because you're not hitting all perfects with your characters, you have to hit a good, great, then a perfect. It means that you might not reach the top combo hit in order to break through combo barriers as well. So those introductions into Treasure Cruise let Log Luffy down a lot. That is definitely what kind of nerfed him a little bit and what made other legends better than him. But as they say here, you can definitely bring a Blackbeard friend, and that can help you a little bit getting through barriers, but you're not going to be getting as much damage output as what you will be with a double Log Luffy. So, Log Luffy is kind of here. He is still one of the best characters as a captain in the game, but he is definitely outclassed by a lot more characters. Lore, boosts slashes and free spirit units by two. Boosts slashes and free spirit units is what I was trying to say. So yeah, he boosts two of the best top tier classes, being free spirit and slasher characters. So you can run kind of like a hybrid team if you do really wish, but you can just run a pure slasher or just a pure free spirit team with a friend Zoro or a friend Timeskip Luffy with a lore captain, and you're good. You're good to go. Works super well. So units like Brook, New World Brook, Sabo, Dofi, who boost with no distinction, are excellent. That is true. This lore is insanely good as a captain, but the thing is, you have to hit perfects with him. You have to hit perfects with him in order to get your maximum attack multiplier, which means that you can't recover, as it was stated here. So you cannot recover if you want to do damage. There's no tankiness, so you don't get any health or damage reduction. But there is the lore ship, which does give you a little bit easier to do damage because it makes perfects easier to hit, and also gives you a health boost as well, and can give you some recovery as well. So the lore ship definitely helps out Legend Lore. Gets outclassed by Zoro, Borsalino for Slasher, and Luffy and Log Luffy for Free Spirit, and also Sabo 6-star plus, and a hard time with barriers. Yeah, that he has the same sort of gimmick with Log Luffy. Is that if it's a perfect barrier, it's fine, but if it's a good or a great barrier, then it is very hard to get around for lore. Kuzan, our Kiji, very fast and powerful, works great with a lot of legends that are top tier, and a very good special. I completely agree with that. Hard to play and can lose all bursts easily. I will agree with that. He is a very difficult character to play with. If you do mess up your attacking, you can legitimately lose your run if you just fail to kill something. Because that's the thing. You have to kill something in order to get a slight increment of your attack multiplier every single turn. Maxes at 3.5 times attack. So if you can use this guy correctly, this guy is so good. He's a Rainbow 3.5 times captain, and he provides a 1.25 HP boost, I believe, and that special ability is great. It will extend the amount of turns that type and orb boosts will utilize. So you can use Legend Doflamingo, use his special, and it's usually a 1-turn orb boost, but with his special activated with Kuzan, you can get a 2-turn 2x orb boost. So he is a very good character as a captain or as a sub-unit, and I do believe this is the right tiering for him. I believe that so far all the tiers, I'll say if a tiering is wrong in my opinion, but so far everything's been not too bad. Now we have Doflamingo. Now, Doflamingo is an interesting one because he's so good. You know, he's a 3x attack booster captain, but you have to hit perfects. If you don't hit perfects, you completely lose out on all of your multipliers. So that is definitely one of the big drawbacks to Doflamingo. As a captain, that is that you have to hit perfects. And another thing about Doflamingo as a captain that I really don't like is the fact that if you use his special, you're only getting 2 matching orbs, but if you're using him as a sub-unit, you can get up to 3 matching orbs. So he is just built to be a better sub than he is as a captain. But if you are using him as a captain, he's still great. 3x attack boost is really, really nice. And obviously, as I said, that special ability, it is definitely top 3 specials in the game, and you literally can't, there is Raid Boss Fujitora, who does have a very, very similar special to what this Doflamingo has, but you still can't really, you can't compete with him, because Doflamingo is such a great unit because he can be put onto any team, whereas the Raid Boss Fujitora, who has a very similar special, can only be used on powerhouse teams. I mean, sure, you can use him to get matching orbs on any team, but he only boosts powerhouse character orbs by 2 times, only for those guys. But you have Legend Doflamingo, who can be used for any team whatsoever. So, Legend Dofi is kind of hard to replace in a lot of teams, and if you ask anyone who doesn't have Doflamingo who they want most, Doflamingo is going to be up there. That was quoted by Boris in his video as well, and that's completely true. If you don't have Doflamingo, you want Doflamingo, pretty much. And, if there's any legend that you do have, that you are so thankful that you have, and if it's Doflamingo, it's definitely going to be Doflamingo. Doflamingo is so hard to replace on a lot of teams, as I said. And even as a captain, if you have to use him as a captain, he's still great. Even with the Doflamingo ship that had got released as well from the Doflamingo Forest, he makes perfects easier to hit, provides a health boost, and also adds a little bit of chain multiplier as well. So that ship is great using Doflamingo as a captain, but as a captain, he isn't really the best, but that special is very, very hard to compete with. So I don't really know if SS is the right tier. I don't know if it's the right tier, but he is one of the best characters in the game. God damn. Speaking for 40 minutes, it does put a toll on you. But now let's talk about Crocodile. Crocodile being the last unit here on the SS tier before we move on to the SS plus. So Crocodile is a great captain. High base damage, double turn, a double burst turn, non-consecutive. That's the great thing about him, is that when you're running double Crocodile, he himself is the type booster for Cerebral team. So you can have 2 turns of 2 times boost, which is awesome. Awesome orb control, yes, because you are running Heracles or X-Drake, so that provides really nice orb control for your Rainbow Cerebral team. Low versatility, I agree with that. Most of the time, you're going to be running just the same old Croc team over and over again. There are other Cerebral characters, but they just don't fit well with what Crocodile wants to do. So most of the time, you are going to be running the same Cerebral team over and over again. But you know what they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that's kind of like my argument for that. Very dangerous to play, agreed. You have to be at low HP to get your maximum attack multiplier. And you need 3-day 2... my god! You need 3-day 2-year Robin. That is true as well. Robin provides so much utility for the Crocodile team, and she's so hard to replace. She makes your HP go to 1, which automatically activates Crocodile's maximum attack multiplier. She locks orbs and delays, I believe? Does she delay? Yeah, she does delay, and she does 1,000 fixed damage. Like, so many different abilities, so much utility in one character. That is so hard to replace. Robin is amazing for Legend Crocodile teams. But as I said, there are a lot of Cerebral characters that are good, but it's just the fact that Crocodile, it's kind of hard to fit them to what Crocodile wants to do. You're mainly going to be using your Orb Manipulator with Heracles or X-Drake. You've got your utility unit with Robin. You've got Legend Doflamingo, which is here as well. Legend Doflamingo, definitely one of the best units for the Crocodile team, because he is a Cerebral character as well as a Driven character. And usually that last spot can be used for anything you really want, whether you want another Orb Booster, whether you want a damage reducer like the CP9 Khalifa, who's really, really solid. You can use Treble for another Orb Blocker or just purple damage. So there's lots of utility that you can use for that last slot, but in most cases it's going to be either Kuma or CP9 Khalifa. That's going to be the team in most cases. So Crocodile has very low versatility, but as I said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So Crocodile teams are very, very good, but they do struggle with Training Forest. That's definitely one of their big downfalls, is Training Forests are kind of hard to beat with Crocodile, because you have to rely being on low HP all the time. So if you're not outputting on enough damage to kill them, you're just going to die. So... but definitely agree. Crocodile, I do agree with this tiering here. I think everything on this tier is fine, but Doflamingo is the one that I've got question marks over, because that special ability is very, very unique and hard to replace, so I don't know about Doflamingo. But that's the SS tier down. Now we're moving on to the SS plus. Now, immediately off the bat, this is probably one of the main reasons why I wanted to make this video after seeing Boris's video, is I saw this. I saw Zoro at SS plus. I think that he should be definitely a lot higher than what he is, because he can clear everything in the game. HP and attack boost, really solid. He's a 1.5 HP, 3 times attack boost in most cases. Doesn't need orbs for the 3 times attack boost, which is why he outclasses, Ace. In my opinion, he outclasses Ace. He almost outclasses Fujitora. That's the one I'm not too sure about. Is he better than Fujitora? Not too sure, because there is a big condition on his captain ability where you have to have at least 5 slashes on your crew. Now, that doesn't really matter that much, because when you're comparing to Fujitora, it's not like you're going to be running, 4 driven units. In most cases, you are going to be running 5 to 6 driven units on a Fujitora team, where you got Zoro, where in most cases, you're going to be running 5 to 6 slashes on a slash team. So, he's great. His special ability he is the type booster for slashes. If he is your captain and you use his special, 2 times attack to slashes. If he is not your captain and you use his special, you get a 1.75 times attack to slashes. He's great. As I said here, great tankiness, power, potential with 5 legends in his team, so room for a 6-star plus upgrades. Zoro is one of those units that is legitimately one of the best in the game. He can clear a lot of content. He has the potential to run really great sub-units like Legend Kizaru for the orbs. You can run Cavendish, whether it be the Legend, or you can run the Ambushed Cavendish. You can run the purple Inthawk Legend Inthawk works really well. You can run Law to get through barriers if you need to for specials. So there's so much utility with Zora. You can run so many good utility units and just strong units, like all round. He has the tankiness, which is one of his best traits. 1.5 times health. He's great. So he says 2.5 times can be a bit low during burst turn, and a lot of enemies can block your first turn on them. Orb control, despair, lock, damage reduction, etc. 5 slash is a bit too much. In my personal opinion, that's a bit nitpicking. I do think it's a bit nitpicking. In most cases, you can get around stuff like that. Sockets do help a lot. I can agree that there are some dungeons, though, that will give you that have damage reduction or that orb control. Orb control is easy because you do have the ability of Kizaru, and if you do have to get around like bother orbs, you can just bring another character that just gets rid of bother orbs, because you do have the ability to run 5 slashes and 1 other unit, so that can be get around fine. Despair lock, as I said, you do have a spot for 1 non-slasher, so that can be used to get rid of despair. Damage reduction is the one that is a bit difficult to get around because there aren't that many characters that remove damage reduction shields off the bat. There's one that I can think of, which is Timeskip Red Chopper, the Monster Chopper Timeskip one. He can remove damage shields for a certain amount of turns, so you might have to run him if you need to get around stuff like that. But you know, that is the only thing I can see being the nitpicky thing here. The rest of it's easy to deal with. 5 slash is a bit too much. That's a nitpick in my opinion. Because, as I said, when you're comparing him to Fujitora, in most cases, you're going to be running 5 to 6, driven units on that team as well. In most teams that utilize a specific class, it's not like you're going to be running less than 5. There are some cases where you need to run less than 5, but in most cases, you're running at least 5 of that class for that class-boosting captain. So, I think that's a bit of a nitpick in my personal opinion. He should definitely be a lot higher than what he is. He's one of the best characters in the game. So, I just wanted to get that out there. In my opinion, one of the best characters in the game. Now we got Isho, which is Fuji Man. Now Fuji is another interesting one. The main thing that I'm going to say about Fujitora that is going to bring him down in the future is if the ambush Cavendish buff becomes more of a common thing. That's going to definitely let down Fujitora a lot because he does rely on getting matching orbs to get his attack boost. So definitely that's going to be a big thing in the future. But on top of that, he does have a 1.5 times health boost, so he is one of the tanky captains, and as it said here, driven, one of the best top 3 classes in the game, 100% agree. Easy to play and very safe, as safe as Jinbei with more damage. Yeah, I would say that's true. His special is insane, special being one of the best in the game, 20% health cut, and then for the next 3 turns you get more 20% health cuts. Hello? One of the best specials in the game, and very versatile with its subs. There's lots of great driven units you can run, namely Legend Flamingo, Colosseum Kobe, you got Caesar, you've got Shiki, you can run really nice different teams with Shiki and Lao G and stuff like that. You can run Hannibal and Caesar for nice conditional boosts with there as well. There's lots of good teams that you can run with Driven, but in most cases you do need Legend Doflamingo, so that's one of the downsides. If you have Fujitora, you pretty much need Doflamingo to make the best Driven-based team. But let's see what he says here for the negatives. Low 1.5 times base boost without orbs, that is true. New anti-orb is very harsh on Fujitora, yeah, I said that as well. So, that is a really low 1.5 times base boost. If you don't have a matching orb, you're only getting 1.5 boost. Now, the great thing about Fujitora, though, is that he makes tandem and recovery orbs count as matching. So that is one way to get around that sort of thing. So there are dungeons that, some Fortnites will go ahead and make tandem and recovery orbs appear all the time. So in dungeons like that, or in some specific Colosseums, they do it as well. Namely, I think the Colosseum Kobe one, where you have against... on stage 4 of Colosseum Kobe, you have to verse Tashigi, and she makes tandem orbs appear more often, so that works really well with Fujitora as well. But, in most cases, you're not going to be dealing with stuff like that, but it is good that he does make 2 other orbs count as matching, so you've got the color of the unit, tandem and recovery, so there's 3 out of 7 chances you're going to be getting a matching orb, so that is also really, really nice. So, the thing is, Fujitora honestly is so good. Like he's in the Zoro tier of how good he is, but it's the fact that that new anti-orb thing, I don't know how often that's going to appear in Treasure Cruise. If it is going to be quite a common thing, then Fujitora is just going to be getting worse in the future, but still one of the best characters in the game. In my opinion, should be a lot higher than what he is. Inuarashi, so this is quite a new legend. that was introduced into Japan not that long ago, and he is already, you know, one of the best legends in the game just for pure damage. And I'm just talking pure damage right now. For pure damage, he's one of the best because he provides an attack boost and a chain boost simultaneously. So he's really, really nice. So he's a great attack boost, as I said. 2.75 attack, 1.5 chain combo multiplier. Awesome special, yes, one of the best specials. Doesn't rely on 1 HP for burst, so he does rely on being low HP, but he doesn't rely on being 1 HP, as Maniakk has said, which is awesome. So you can use a Crocodile friend captain with Inarashi, but in my personal opinion, double Inarashi is just better, unless if your combo does get locked or chained or something like that. Like, you do have to take a note on that, but it's really, really awesome seeing a 2.5 attack and a chain multiplier simultaneously. That does output more damage than what Crocodile can output. But as I said, if there are dungeons that do limit your combo or chain multiplier, then Crocodile will be the better option. Now, more potential for Forest Clears and Colosseum. Now, let's talk about his special. Now, his special, it says awesome special. If you guys don't know what his special does, if you guys are familiar with Raid Boss Sabo, adds a certain amount of his attack as damage to each unit that hits a good or great or perfect. He does the exact same thing, but the thing is, Inarashi has more attack. So he's going to be doing more damage than what Raid Boss Sabo's special is going to be doing. And the fact that it's on Cerebral teams as well, they've already got a type booster, they've already got a an orb booster, so they've got type booster in Crocodile, orb booster in Doflamingo, they've got a conditional booster with Momonga, so that's really nice. And then they've got this guy to add extra damage as well. So Cerebral teams definitely get a massive buff from this guy. But the negatives of him, 30% is still too low for it to take a hit from a non-fodder unit. That is true as well. You do still have to rely on being below 30%. Now, even if you are above 30%, you're only getting a 2.5 times attack and no combo multiplier. But that's still really solid. Still a solid 2.5 is really nice. Cerebral are not a top tier class yet, but like Powerhouse and Shooters, they're really close. Yeah, I agree with that. Inarashi still a really solid captain. Okay. Now, this is an interesting one. I haven't seen too many videos on Jota Jones, so I can't comment too much on this guy. But let's just see what Maniakk has said. He says high base damage. Yes, that's true. Damage and cooldown reducing specials. His batch is amazing for him. Rocket Man works great since you can stall at 19,000 HP with a friend Lucci and Blackbeard Sanji. Yes, that's also really good. Now that was all the positives there. Let's talk about his negatives. So without the Rocket Man, HP gets down to 10,000 or 5,000 with double Jota. Forced to have 6 Powerhouse who aren't very utility based. Powerhouse is still low when it comes to having multiple burst turns like other classes. Yeah, so the thing about this guy, he does reduce your HP at the end of every turn, but at least you are having 3 times attack and 2 times health at the start, right? So running double Jota Jones is kind of bad. You never really want to run double Jota Jones in most cases. But if you're running Jota Jones, the best, sort of situation you want to be running is, as it was said here, you can run a Lucci, you can run a Blackbeard, or you can run a Sanji Legend Captain. That works really, really well. So yeah, that works really, really nicely. You can run that. But yeah, Jota Jones has a lot of damage output. Survivability is kind of bad. I don't have much survivability with Jota Jones, but you do a lot of damage. So against forests, I'm not too sure. I haven't seen Jota Jones clear many forests. Not too sure if it's kind of a thing that's impossible or it's just really difficult with Jota Jones. But against a lot of the other content like raid bosses, Colosseums, I think that Jota Jones is actually really solid. He does output a lot of damage. And yeah, I think this is actually a pretty solid spot for him. I do agree with Jota Jones being in this sort of SS plus tier. Let's talk about Cavendish. I think we all know how good Cavendish is. Partnered really well with a Blackbeard. Most cases you don't want to be running double Cavendish, but Cavendish Blackbeard can clear everything in the game. So Cavendish Blackbeard works well. Can solo clear bosses. That's one of the best things about him as well, is that his special ability provides an orb and a type boost for himself for 2 turns, and just with him by himself can clear through. He can just tear through bosses. It's insane how much damage output that Cavendish has for himself. His captain ability himself only boosts himself by 4 times and boosts 3 other colors by 2.5. Not a bad captain ability at all. Works really, really well. Works with a lot of captains, especially Blackbeard, as I said, and takes out your buffs, which is a really low key. One of the coolest features about him is that when you activate his special, even though it is boosting himself for his orbs and type for 2 turns, before he does that, he removes all positive buffs on your crew. So if there is a situation where there's a dungeon that will go ahead and apply an orb boost or a type boost on your team, like a 1.1 or a 1.2 boost, you can just get rid of that whilst getting this massive boost to Cavendish, which works really, really well. No tankiness, which is one of the downsides to him. Good everywhere, but not actually great like the ones over him. Yeah, so he's good in most cases, but won't... By himself, he's okay, but in most cases, he's not going to be one of the best units in the game, but he is very solid for clearing some specific things. So, Cavendish is great, but as I said, when you're partnering with Blackbeard, you're going to have no issues whatsoever. Last unit here in the SS Plus tier, Borsalino, boost 3 times attack to all classes. Yes, Borsalino being a Rainbow Captain is awesome. He has an excellent special, manipulates orbs by himself, 2 burst turn, non-linked, so you can burst even after a preemptive attack. Yes, that's true as well. Borsalino is amazing. I believe he can clear just about anything in the game. I believe he can clear anything. Let's talk about his negatives though. It says 2 times attack without special could be rough. I don't like the fact that he says could be rough. It is rough. I wouldn't say could be rough, but it is rough. Only getting 2 times attack without activating his special is kind of rough. But the fact that his captain ability will boost your crew's recovery, so that's kind of nice as well. When you are picking up a recovery orb, you are recovering a lot of health. It says no HP boost. No HP boost, slasher, and 5,000 HP regen isn't always enough. Yeah, his special will recover 5,000 or 6,000 with max recovery candies, which is, it's solid. It's solid for what it does. I mean, you can't really complain that the health regen isn't enough, because in most cases, the health regen is just an added bonus. You're only really using his special ability because he manipulates orbs. So I think that nitpicking at the fact that he only recovers 5,000 isn't really fair, because his special isn't going to be used for health regen. His special is used for manipulating of orbs for 2 classes, giving shooters and slashers matching orbs. So this guy works well on strong 1 ace teams, Zoro teams, or even just as a captain himself for just a pure slasher / shooter team with this guy's captain is so good. So that concludes the SS Plus tier. If there was anything in general that I would change, as I said guys, Isho and Zoro, I believe, should be a lot higher than what they are. I do believe that they are the best in the game. But as I said about Isho, if the ambush Cavendish buff, a debuff, is going to be more of a common thing, then I do agree with this listing here. Zoro, I don't know why he's here. He's definitely one of the best in the game. But now let's talk about the last tiering, which is the SSS tier. The best characters in the game. Let's talk about them. So first one on the SSS tier is Sanji. Now, Sanji is a 2.5 times rainbow booster, and he provides a slight health boost. I don't remember what the health boost is. It might be a 1.3, 1.25, something like that. He does provide a slight health boost as well, which is actually pretty solid. Now, you might be thinking, okay, so it's just a regular 2.5 attack boost to everyone, and a 1.2 or 1. Whatever health boost as well to everyone. What makes this guy so good? So he has the Captain Action, the brand new feature they added to One Piece Treasure Cruise, where there is the activation for a special, and then there's an activation for a Captain Action. Now his Captain Action is pretty broken, because the way that it works is you can activate it and he jumps into the air, and what happens is that when the enemy would activate any debuff on your captain that it would normally be there, because he's jumped up in the air, he quote-unquote dodges it. So if they apply like locking of orbs for your captain, where they despair your captain, where they chain your captain, where they blow away your captain, he will dodge that. He completely dodges that. Now, even though that Captain Action means he can't attack for 1 turn, that's where he just can dodge everything. But then the following turn, when he goes to attack, he gets an added 2.5 times attack to himself. So he's kind of like a better version of Cavendish. He's solid. He's so good. And his special does 100,000 fixed damage, and he also gives surrounding orbs himself and changes tandem orbs into matching, I believe. That is insane. And he, on top of all that orb manipulation and the 100,000 fixed damage, he also boosts his own attack by 2 times for 1 turn. This Sanji is like so powerful. He does so much damage, and I believe somewhere on the Reddit that there's already a video of him clearing every training forest in the game. That just goes to show how good this guy is. Now, also it says here, works great with Gear 4, Hody, Lucci for Powerhouse, and better boosted than Cavendish and does the same job with that anti-buff that the Cavendish brings, but can also get orb boosted as well. So yes, he is definitely just a better version all round compared to Cavendish. Now, the negatives that he says here, not the best damage as a team, since he is very self-centered, but can still do 3 million plus damage very easily. Yes, that is true. Sanji is probably one of my most wanted legends at the moment, other than Enel. Honestly, I love this Sanji. This Sanji is great. The captain action is such an amazing feature, and they definitely should do it more in the future. I would love to see more captain actions, but yeah, I completely agree with Sanji being in this tier, just because we've already seen he can clear all the training forest, and because, you know, when a team clears all the training forest, we can automatically assume that they can probably clear everything else in the game, for the most part. He can clear all of the ambushes, so that's awesome as well. So, in most cases, if they can clear all the ambushes and all of the training forest, they probably can clear everything else in the game. So, Sanji, one of the best. Moving on, my boy. You guys already know, my boy, Time Skip Luffy. Free Spirit Booster, one of the top 3 classes, I would argue. I would argue the best class in the game, because they have such amazing units. High base damage, I wouldn't say high base damage. You have to activate his special to get that high damage, but he's just a regular 2.5 times captain without activating the special, so that's fine. Decent orb control by himself. Yeah, that special is insane, making 3 different orbs count as matching, which is nice. Insane burst and highest rainbow burst, so that's a thing as well. Percentage damage reduction as a captain, and no drawbacks. That is one thing as well, that he has no drawbacks. He has consistent passive damage reduction up to 35% with max damage reduction sockets and a double time skip Luffy. So yeah, I believe this guy is the best legend. Personally, I think he's the best legend in the game. I know there are different people that think different things, but this is just my opinion here. Now, Free Spirit lack a 100% way to have full matching orbs. Now, that is true. That is true, but there are ways to get around that. Obviously, you can use Kanjuro from the Colosseum. You've got Kinemon for some nice, you know, surrounding orb manipulation. But you can sort of work your team around getting full matching orbs to make sure that you have Dex, Quick, or Psi orbs on your crew to make sure that your orbs are always going to be matching. So there are ways to get around that, but there is no 100% way without stalling, using it just specials to get full matching orbs. That is true, unless if you are using Kanjuro, but then it still is a little bit reliant on what kind of orbs you get from that as well. Next, we have Gear 4. Now, Gear 4 is interesting. I kind of want to do a comparison video just separately between these two, because there are lots of arguments in the community about which one is better. I've already said which one's better. I think Time Skip Luffy currently is the best one. Even with Rayleigh, I still believe that this Luffy is better. But Gear 4, we can't take anything away from him. He is insanely good. So he does it 4 times when he wants. I mean, in most cases, you can just say the same things for both, but there are slight differences. The thing is that Gear 4 doesn't always have a passive damage reduction. He doesn't have a damage reduction unless you activate the special. Now, when you activate the special, you get 56% damage reduction, and if you have double Gear 4 and you activate both specials, it's 80% damage reduction, which is so good. And it's great when bursting and having to tank a hit. His special does 200 times his attack on his special, so that's so much damage. That is a lot of damage to deal with. Excellent orb control. Yeah, that's true. His special ability makes every orb matching except for blue orbs, so that's great. That's one way to get just about everything matching orbs there, compared to Free Spirit. This guy's a fighter booster, and a plus and a minus is that Ray puts him in this tier. If there was no Rayleigh, then he would definitely be SS tier or SS plus tier. But the fact that 6-star plus Rayleigh is a thing, he does support Gear 4 really well, and that kind of puts him into this tiering here. Now, one other thing that I wanted to say about this as well is that in my personal opinion, Free Spirits just have better subunits than what fighters do. You know, with Luffy, with this time skip Luffy, you can get access to Raid Boss Boa, you can get access to Invasion Shanks, you can get access to Colosseum Apu if you do need just a free-to-play, really solid type booster. Works really well. And then some of the other rare recruits as well you got access to is Time Skip Brook, who's really solid. You got 6-star plus Sabo as well as another type booster. So I think that in my personal opinion that you know, this Luffy, Red Hawk Luffy, is a little bit better than Gear 4. Gear 4 do have some great subs. They've got Colosseum Hideo, they've got Koala, they've got Jinbei, they've got regular 6-star Jinbei if you do need another turn of matching orbs, if you do need it later, or earlier on, or later on, but in my opinion, I just believe that Free Spirit just do have better sub-units, but anyways, they are both great. I believe both of them will have no problems clearing all the content in the game, so I don't think that's going to be too much of an issue. The only thing is, right, is I do believe that Luffy time skip will have a little bit easier dealing with Invasion Cavendish, because the fact that he does have the passive damage reduction and you can't get recovery orbs, so recovering might be a bit hard with Gear 4 Luffy, but with time skip Luffy you do have damage reduction, which does help you out a little bit. Let's move on. Blackbeard. Okay, Blackbeard is interesting. I don't know if I would put him in this tiering. He is great because he's so unique with his captain ability, but it's hard to say because he doesn't do that much damage, but I guess his utility is kind of why he's here. He does have a great captain boost. He's a 2.75 attack, 1.5 health to everybody, as long as you do fulfill the very grueling condition of having a fighter, shooter, slasher, and striker on your crew. If you do fulfill that, then you're fine. He does have a health cut that goes through barriers, 30% health cut that goes through all barriers, which is really, really good. He's very versatile, highest potential growth with his anti-gameplay captain effect. Yes, he does break the game with his mechanics, going through barriers and defensive buffs with regular attacks, and his special is quite crazy. It's kind of hard, yeah. I think Blackbeard does deserve to be in this tier now that I'm reading that. Like, you do have to think about that. He makes his special and all regular attacks go through all barriers and defensive buffs. So if they have a shield that halves damage, ignores it. If they have a barrier where you have to hit 5 goods to do damage, ignore it. Just attack. I completely agree with it. Blackbeard is amazing. Complicated to build teams without rare recruits or legends. I will agree with that, is that you do need to have a lot of rare recruits and a lot of legends, or a lot of the good legends, in order to build really, really good Blackbeard teams. But you can still get around building a Blackbeard team without having a lot of rare recruits or legends, but it's just going to be that much more better with rare recruits and legends. Like, if you want to clear a lot of the content, you pretty much have to have rare recruits or legends. But in most cases, I do personally believe that Blackbeard is better with a friend Cavendish, because Cavendish himself will just boost by a ton, and Cavendish himself with his special will be able to tear through bosses a lot easier. Sure, you can run double Blackbeard. That works fine, but I think that Cavendish does provide a little bit more to the table, and the fact that Cavendish does provide the slasher typing for the condition for Blackbeard's captain ability, which does kind of free up a slot on your crew to run another unit like Legend Doflamingo, for example, who isn't one of the 4 classes that you need for Blackbeard, but his special is so good, it's just great for utility. So I think that you know, having Blackbeard and Cavendish is probably a better choice, or you can run another one like Blackbeard and just anyone else really. You can run Blackbeard and Legend Enel. You can run Blackbeard and just literally anyone really. Blackbeard Log Luffy, you know, there's so many different combinations you can run with, but just Blackbeard himself is such a good unit, so I agree 100%. And here we are, the last unit, of course, Akainu. Akainu, man, there's not much to say about him. He just literally tears through everything, and you don't even have to activate specials in order to do so. He is very, very powerful. High base damage, a lot of team variations. His special is a great way to clear rooms. Yes, because his special does a lot of damage. It's AoE damage as well. You know, Luffy does a lot of damage, right? It does 200 times his attack with the Gear 4 Luffy, but it's only to one enemy, whereas you have Akainu who's AoE damage, so that is a little bit of a difference there. Probably the best combo of power and speed, I will agree there. You can't really compare anyone else with power and speed simultaneously with Akainu. He's so strong, and he clears things very quickly, and a very high burst. Now, let's talk about his cons. No tankiness as a captain. That is true. That's one of his biggest downfalls, is that, sure, he does a lot of damage, but if you are unable to kill something, and they do damage to you, you're going to be taking a lot of hits, and you don't have a lot of health, so, you know, either having some damage reducers, or having something to raise your health, like a really good ship, whether it be the Garb ship, or you have, like, the Thousand Sunny, that provides the damage reduction, works really well. Or, one of my favorite ways to get around that kind of thing would be to use a powerhouse team and use the Rocket Man. Now, the Rocket Man is so good for Akainu, because you can run the Rocket Man and have level 5 auto heal. 1900 heal per turn with the amount of damage that you're dealing with Akainu works super well. And there are so many good powerhouse units you can run with Akainu, namely 6-star plus Whitebeard, 6-star Marco. You can run 3-day-2 Sanji for the type booster if you need to run something like that. So there are definitely ways to get around that. You can run Raid Boss Kuma as well. He's a powerhouse. So I would think that that's the best way for survivability, but it says a bit weaker than Driven. Driven teams will provide more damage. I do agree completely. The Driven teams will provide you with more damage, but with the Powerhouse team, you are running 6-star plus Whitebeard, who's a 30% health cut. So that does kind of make up for the damage you are going to be losing, and suffers without orbs. So this is another thing as well, is that the Cavendish, the Ambush Cavendish anti-buff, where you're losing all of your orbs, will kind of make Akainu a bit weaker, because he does rely on getting red orbs on your characters to get an attack boost. So that is going to be one of the biggest downfalls of this guy. If that's going to be a buff that's going to continuously appear throughout the future of Treasure Cruise, then Akainu might actually be a bit weaker, but we've already seen it. He already can clear Invasion Cavendish without a problem. So maybe it won't be too much of a problem. Maybe not. We're not too sure. We'll have to see how the future of Treasure Cruise will unfold. But that actually concludes it. That is the highest tier that Maniakk has come up with for this tier listing. Very long video. My voice is absolutely shot. I'm going to go and just die right now, but hopefully you guys have enjoyed this breakdown of this tiering and my opinions on everything on here, just my opinions on the legends in general, and what I've suggested as well. If Maniakk does end up watching this video, thank you for all the hard work you've put into this tier listing. It is pretty awesome, yeah, I mean, you heard what I've had to hear, you've heard what I had to say, so if you have any changes, definitely make them. As I said, Zoro and Fujitora are a bit and Doflamingo a bit but everything else I do completely agree with, I think. But yeah, if you guys have enjoyed this video, make sure to smack the like button down below. Make sure to go check out Maniakk's stuff, all of his social links down below in the description as well. Thank you so much for enjoying the video. But anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you guys want to stay up to date with more One Piece Treasure Cruise content that I do provide, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But other than that, guys, I will see you guys within the next video.